This is an advertisement from a 1999 magazine describing the view from atop the World Trade Center. It reads, "It feels great at the top. New Yorkers like Bobby Short know where to go for the best view in town. Top of the World Trade Center observatories, the highest point of Manhattan. Top of the World offers visitors the unique and magical beauty of the city and its surroundings." Who could ever have imagined it would end up like this? The stereoscopic 3D images that you're about to see were recorded within a few days to a few months after the September 11, 2001 attack on the World Trade Center. They were captured by Sheldon Aronowitz and myself as a duty to history. We used stereorealist 3D cameras and Kodachrome film. There were long hours of waiting for press access. I had credentials due to my work in the broadcast industry. No one was concerned about the air we were breathing because we were told that it was safe. And we all soon forget that for a while it was thought that there were survivors trapped in the rubble. During the presentation, you'll notice the weary, bruised dogs and their handlers. I must have heard every opinion as to who, why, where, when, how. Volunteers arrived from around the country. Cave divers told me how small a space a human can survive in. Yet the hospitals that were waiting for patients never saw any, other than workers who had been injured while clearing the debris. You're going to hear the words of New York Stereoscopic Association member George Sikorsky describing his hero son's last minutes. So while the images bear no direct connection to what George is explaining, they capture the heart and soul of the experience. Take it away, George.
My son, Gregory, he was the third son. He was an auto mechanic, worked at my gas station for many years. He knows a lot about mechanics. He lived dangerously because he was a skydiver, joined the Marines, anything dangerous he liked. He liked parachuting. So finally he said, I'm going to join the fire department. He went to rescue fire department, Rescue 41. One day, on a Tuesday, September 11th, he's stationed up in the Bronx by the Yankee Stadium. They got a call to come down to Manhattan, World Trade Center. They went from the Bronx fire station to Manhattan in 18 minutes. I don't know how they got it, but there was no cars on the road. They just came down there. They landed down here in the South Tower. He could open up elevators, like the Jaws of Life that opens up doors for the thing. He could open up elevators. They said there's a fire in the elevator on the 41st floor. He walked up 41 stories with this big pack on his back, Jaws of Life. He went up there with 6 people altogether. But he's 41 stories high. We couldn't find him for 8 months later. 7, 8 months later, we're looking for him. He must have fell through the elevator and landed three flights in the basement, South Tower. Now we couldn't find him because the ramp, the trucks were coming up to get the debris out of the ramp here, and he was buried under that ramp. So at the end of 7 months, they took the ramp down and they started digging there, and then they found the Jaws of Life, that thing. Oh, 41 is written on there. They said, we stopped digging because they're digging with the big bulldozers and cranes. They did it all by hand. They found them. They called me up 2 o'clock in the morning. We came down here, and they're pulling them out 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're watching the thing. And the one fighter says, we're up on the ramp there. So he says, you come down there. You hold on to the stretcher. So I was one of the pallbearers that pulled them out. He belonged to the Hillcrest Fire Department, Rockland County Hillcrest for many years. They donated a lot of money. They put up a big party, parades, everything. They closed the whole town up there. Amazing what they did. The fire department from Rockland County, called Hillcrest Fire Department. Thousands of people. Then they got a couple of parks up there. They named the street after him, Greg Sikorsky Street, right across the street from my gas station. I own a gas station on Route 306 in Muncie. Right across the street is Greg Sikorsky Street. They opened up in Haverstraw. You go to Haverstraw Town Hall, they got a statue of him. 2 firefighters and 1 police department fire. And you see a full-size statue of him, Greg Sikorsky, and the other 2 people. They got Marina, and the Marina, they got Haverstraw Marina. They got plaques on it, Sikorsky. Over in Israel, they got a big plaque over there. I mean, the name in the plaque. If you go here in the World Trade Center, they got a name for everything around the pool. And one day in the New York Times, one photographer took a picture of just the section and hit Gregory Sikorsky, all by accident. So we got that picture hanging up in the gas station.
This is a screen grab of the yearly ceremony of reading the names of all of the people who perished. I was told by several of the construction chiefs, and it was also reported in the newspaper, that hundreds of these crossed I-beams stuck out of the basement of the structure. Here you see a piece of what's left of the building stuck to one of the I-beams. It was customary for the construction workers to autograph the beams. The image taken by Sheldon not only captures the moment, but leverages the impact of 3D. This is where what's called a stand-up was done for news reporting every evening. This is my friend Jim McGillian's satellite uplink truck. As you can see, the World Trade Center is a prominent part of his logo. This was a shrine not too far from Times Square for a stewardess who was on one of the planes. All the stores located in that area were closed for quite some time, so I think these guys were happy to see the tourists. After being in that neighborhood for a while, you had the feeling that I can only describe as a mix between a rock show, a flea market, and a mining disaster. Now back to George for a moment. What George didn't mention was that his son Greg inherited George's passion for working on cars and had recently purchased a 1939 fire truck and had just begun to prepare it for restoration when he lost his life on 9/11. The community rallied around and rebuilt the fire engine that's displayed in parades in his hometown. There is yet another part of this amazing story of love, fate, courage, honor, and sacrifice. Approximately 100 years separates the deadliest fire tragedies in New York City's history. The World Trade Center, where 2,996 perished on September 11, 2001, and the Slocum Disaster, where 1,021 perished on June 15, 1904, mostly women and children. And the Sikorsky family is connected to both. You see, Greg Sikorsky's grandfather was on the Slocum as a baby. He was taken off the boat for a diaper change, and the boat left without he and his mother. Here are some of the images of the Slocum after the fire in 1904. Don't leave yet, folks. I got one more story to wrap it all up. As I was making various trips down to the World Trade Center, I noticed this billboard sign for a movie on Showtime that was about to premiere called The Believer. Here's what it looks like up close. Now you got to remember that all the people who were working at Ground Zero had to pass this sign. Coincidentally, I was preparing to do some work with Showtime. So when I met my friend Jim Dixon at Showtime, I immediately said, Jim, the sign on the West Side Highway has got to go. And he knew exactly what was on that sign because it was also on the buses and the cabs. It was advertising clear and simple. But it didn't belong there. I passed by within a week or two and noticed the sign had been changed to this. I was pleased with myself, but not pleased enough to stop and take a picture, so about a month later I stopped by and took this shot. Now, there was nothing heroic about this, mind you, but the better part of human nature went straight up the line. From Jim to the next person to the next person, and it finally got to the sign guys. And everybody did the right thing. I'm just proud to be the first domino. Thank you for listening and feeling along with me.